And we are so back, baby. Happy Sunday to everybody that is listening on. I got my spicy purple shirt. I got my son's hat in honor of the NBA playoffs that has officially started. It's one of the best times of the year. Big NBA guy, big basketball guy. So hopefully you enjoy some viewing experience. And whenever you're listening to this podcast, whether it's on the treadmill, in the car, doing chores in the kitchen, whatever it is, hopefully you are excited to tune in to another episode to expand your horizons, level up, go past what you believe is possible in the moment, and take incremental steps to better your lifestyle and experience more joy. Who wouldn't want that? That's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm fired up and I'm pumped up because I got some great tips from a friend on how to improve the podcast because I shared a couple of the episodes. So more to come on that in a little bit, but I'm excited and it's going to be an awesome ride. And today's episode is titled, Treat Yourself How You Want to Be Treated. Treat yourself how you want to be treated. We've all heard of the golden rule, right? Treat others how you would like to be treated. In this case, we need to treat ourselves with that same level of care on how we'd like to be treated by others. I don't think we think about this enough. You're with yourself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We all have the inner monologue. I know you do. Maybe you don't admit it, or maybe you don't take the time to take stock of what's going on upstairs and what you're saying to yourself. But what you say to yourself and how you treat yourself and how your thoughts become things manifests into what your life becomes in a lot of ways. So we're going to dive deep into that. You're going to gain my perspective on a few things that I've been basically saying to myself all my life. It's been a moniker for me. We're going to dive into some tactics on how to speak better to yourself and to have better thoughts in order to have more things, or at least more beneficial things. And then we'll round it out with a few philosophy pieces as we like to do. So I'm excited because I talk to myself all day long, 24/7. And sometimes I'm really in tune with the thoughts that are going on upstairs. Sometimes you'll just look over at me and I'll have that 1,000-mile stare on my face and you'll say to yourself, you're thinking heavily, you're thinking deeply on something. I'm just talking to myself, just having a nice little conversation. Thoughts become things. You've probably heard that before. Now, sometimes that has to do with manifesting, right? There are people that are very high belief into manifesting where you just believe it, you visualize it, you think it into something that enters your life. I've dabbled there. I'm not an expert in the meditation field. I have some awesome people in my world that absolutely are, and they share some of their thoughts when it comes to that. But for me, it's more has to do with the 1,000 decisions that we make in the day. So just think about an average day, and you may not slow down to realize how many decisions you're actually making, but you're making a ton. And every single day you're making 1,000 decisions. You're faced with two roads. You go left, you go right, then you go right. And then that turns into a string of new decisions. And what's crucially important is that inner monologue inside you that is guiding you to make some of these decisions. What is that person saying? What sort of self-belief do you have in yourself? What sort of positivity do you have in yourself that you're going to make the right decision? And how does that scope what your life looks like? Thoughts become things. So let's take two people, for example. Person number one, they deal with a lot of bad breaks. Bad things happen to this person. At least that's what they perceive. They have a lot of self-deprecating in nature, right? You talk to them, you say, hey, how are you doing? They'll say, things have been better. And you say, okay, no worries. Well, hopefully this Monday shapes up for you. They're self-deprecating, right? A little bit negative, a little bit limited in their thinking. Whenever that happened down the road, that's just kind of who they are. That's part of their personality. So when this person's faced with a decision on a day-to-day basis, they're making that decision, whatever action follows it, with a limited mindset, with this is not going to work in my favor. What's going to go wrong here? And if you stack that up over and over and over again, you have this tree of decision making that is really conservative, and you're out there looking for things that could go wrong rather than things that could go right. Now, you compare that to somebody who's on the opposite side of the spectrum. They're confident and they feel that things will work out. You want to be in that camp, obviously. When you make decisions, you want to be able to do it with energy and excitement and confidence, and you want to do it with a high level of faith that things are going to work in your favor. Now, not everything works in your favor, right? That's life. It's imperfect. plenty of learning lessons along the way, but if your mind is tuned into positivity and things that do break your way, that can become a momentum for your life, and you can jump into new tracks, build out new trees of decision making that are going to just continue to stack on top of each other, where you're not in that limited space, you're in an abundant space. So thoughts become things. You focus on the things that are going to work in your favor. You do so with confidence. You take chances here and there, and then that's how you win rather than lose. Now, there are a couple of mantras that I say to myself all of the time. When it comes up, it's tough to say, right? You may have a conversation with me. It may come up in a conversation, which I'll tell you a story in a little bit. Or I may just be in deep thought, and a decision will hit my brain, and I have to make a decision on something, and this mantra will come out. So the first thing that I say is, I've been lucky all my life. Now, before I even experienced and got into the self-development space, I always said this. As I was growing up, I would say it. When I was in high school, I would say it. When I was in college, I would say it. I just truly believed that I had a lucky break. My running joke is like, I was probably in a previous life a squirrel that tried to cross the street and got hit by a car. And that was a bad break. So I'm making up for it this life, and things just break my way. And they did, right? They have a lot of my life. I feel very blessed, feel very lucky. But I don't think my life is necessarily different than others. I'm sure there are people that have dealt with some really bad circumstances, and thank God, knock on wood, I haven't had to experience those things, but I've always just believed that things break my way. And I say it out loud all the time. I'm extremely lucky. And I'll have friends who tell me, man, you are lucky. And I'll have situations that pop up like, that could only happen to you, Corey. And, when that happens enough, when you're kind of growing up and you have that mindset of like, things break my way and I'm a lucky person, then you just kind of believe that's going to continue to happen. So which one came first? Did I believe I was lucky, so I became lucky? Or was I just lucky, so I started to believe it? If you believe in thoughts becoming things, maybe I've manifested myself into a position where I just always feel lucky. I always feel like I'm going to get the break. Now, I was at a party on Friday, and I was talking with a gentleman, my first time talking with him, super cool guy. He's a business owner. Our kids go to the same school. It was a party for our kids' school. And I was meeting him for like the first 5 minutes. We had mutual friends. And again, super cool guy. We were chopping it up, have a good conversation. And then he asked me how we ended up at the school. And, we backed into it, right? We met somebody who also went to that school. They encouraged us to look into it. We were in the process of switching schools at the time. And this is a great school. It's a great community. And we got really lucky in my mind. So I started saying it, right? I said, well, I've been lucky all of my life. And he stopped me in my tracks right there. And he said, stop. And this is my first 5 minutes of meeting this guy. And he's like, you're not lucky. He's like, luck finds you because you're a very positive person. You have a great personality. I can tell. So you're not lucky. There's no such thing as luck. This is what he told me. He said, you have things break your way because of your personality and because of your positivity. And I was like, man, I like this guy. Thank you for saying that. Now, for me, I wouldn't have brought that up. I wouldn't have said like, I've manifested this. I've been lucky all my life. It's kind of something that I say, but having him say that back to me, I was like, yes, you're reinforcing something that I've found to be true over the last couple of years, is that my thoughts become things. And if I say I'm always unlucky and things always go wrong, and man, one thing after another, and like, I wish I had what they had, and whatever excuse you want to enter into the stratosphere, but I say the opposite. I've been lucky all my life, and that kind of manifests itself and folds into great things that happen for me. So that's one thing that I say to myself. Another thing that I say to myself, and I've mentioned this before, and I say to my team, is tell me all of the reasons why you can. Average person out in the world is programmed to look out for the negative and look out for all of the hurdles and the pitfalls and the things that will get away from us doing the accomplishments that we want to do. And we're going to tell you all the reasons why we can't do it. And I'm not interested in the reasons why we can't, because those don't serve me. Those don't serve you. Those don't move you to where you want to be. So what's the point in listing out all of the reasons why you cannot? I don't care about those things. I care about all the reasons why I can, because a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times, there are just as many reasons why you can do something as opposed to the reasons why you cannot do something. It is harder and it's more stressful. It's more strain on the brain. It takes more energy. It takes more effort to find the reasons why you can, because it requires you to be solution focused and work around said hurdles that are holding you back. But there's just as many reasons why you can as to the reasons why you cannot. So I train myself to always stop myself in the tracks, because it happens to me too. I'm human, of like, man, I was going to do X, Y, and Z, but I can't now. And anytime that word can't enters my brain, I've now trained myself to pause and think to myself, well, can I? If there's a reason why I can't, then there's probably an exact opposite reason why I can. Maybe I need to explore all of the solutions that will still allow me to do this. And I'm obsessed with that, right? Because that's how you grow, in my opinion. I love running into those little hurdles, and you're like, this would stop the average person. This will not stop me, because the reasons why I can are X, Y, and Z. And the cool thing about that statement is your brain really goes to work for you. Your brain's a beautiful thing. It looks for those paths. Again, you make 1,000 decisions. There's these roadmaps where you go right or left. And if you tell your GPS, tell me all the reasons why we can, then it's going to light up all of the detours and all the new routes that you can take to make something happen. So tell me all the reasons why you can. Don't tell me all the reasons why you can't. I'm not interested, because that's not going to help us. It's not going to take us to where we want to be. So I don't talk about it. And then one thing I've said ever since I've seen one of my favorite movies of all time is The Wedding Crashers. I forget what rule it is. I always say it's rule number 72. No excuses, play like a champion. I've said that saying to myself more times than I can count. I've said that saying to myself for years on end, years and years, probably the last 15, 20 years, whenever that movie came out. And it started out as something silly, just from the movie. No excuses, play like a champion. But it's really morphed into just me not making excuses and me not saying, this thing is going to hold me back here. So it's just something silly I say, but I do say it to myself all the time. And that's more of like a mindset shift for me. It's kind of me being, me holding myself accountable, right? The whole title of this podcast is Treat Yourself How You Want to Be Treated. I want to be treated with accountability, because accountability is care, and I care for myself. And when I tell myself, no excuses, play like a champion, it's like, toughen up, buttercup. Like, you're being soft in this moment. That's often when I'm using it. And I can get soft. I can get tired. I can fall in those gray areas where I'm like, man, I don't want to do this right now, or, this isn't going my way, or I'm just, it's not going well for me. And then I say it, right? No excuses, play like a champion, like, toughen up, let's go. And that's just something I say to myself. And if I had best friend say that to me, I would love that, because that's what I need in those moments. And I know how to coach myself, and you know how to coach yourself better than anybody else. So treat yourself that way. Don't take away from your potential and where you want to go. Add to it. Be your best confidant, your best friend. Like, the thoughts that happen up here do not have to hold you back. They can propel you forward. And that's the whole point of bringing up this podcast. Now, talking more about how you want to treat yourself. Now, the way that I like to be treated, and the way that I like to expand and improve, is to focus on having no ego. Now, one thing that's held me back quite a bit in my life is having an ego. And this is something I'm working really hard on, because this is, I'm not going to say hardwired into me, because I wasn't born with it, but it is something that I really latch onto. It's been a big part of my personality for a long period of time. I think everybody has an ego. There's levels to it, but for me, for whatever reason, middle child syndrome, I don't know. I have an ego, and I have to fight it a lot. And I've gotten a lot better. I used to be like insufferable. So like, there'd be people in my life that would say, Corey is a bad winner, or Corey is a bad loser. Like, I'm just like not a fun person to compete with, because if I lose, I'm going to be pissed, and I'm going to be annoying about it, and I'm going to sometimes cheat, but like in a playful way. And I hate losing. I really, really hate losing. No one likes losing. And I know there are plenty of people that hate losing out there, but man, it like really, like, it ruins my whole day. And then winning, I like to let you know about it. Like, when I'm winning, I'm going to let you know when I'm winning. I'm going to continue to win. I'm going to throw it in your face. I'm going to be a jerk. And that's something that I'm working on. Not a finished product there, but I know that the person that I want to become does have no ego. He doesn't have that he doesn't have that nasty side that would take away from who I want to actually be. And another thing that's held me back when it comes to ego, and this is just me taking stock, is I've let my ego get in the way of asking for help. I've let my ego get in the way of trying new things. I've let my ego get in the way of putting myself out there. And if you're nodding your head and you're like, yes, that's happened to me too, or that's currently happened to me, you can work on it. You can change. People can change big time. Again, not a finished product in this front, but when it comes to treating myself, I want to be treated. I want to be treated with no ego so I can also exude that out and become that person. So when it comes to ego, you want to be able to give yourself enough grace to look silly. You want to give yourself enough grace to look weak. And you want to give yourself enough grace to try something new and to fail at it. That to me is what ego really is. That's where those middle ground wins and changing and growing really come from. And ego is this just giant hurdle in the way of you doing things. So, one thing that's really changed my perspective on ego is learning how to swim last year. And I know I talk about this experience a lot, but it's something I'm really proud of because I am a really gifted runner, not to pat myself on the back, and I have other gifts that just come to me naturally, and I have natural talents at certain things. Swimming is not one of them. Swimming is like the opposite. Like I was not born being like a great swimmer. And I started my journey to run my first half Ironman. And I got into the lake in June of last year. And I swam for a total of 10 seconds. And I picked my head up out of the lake and I was huffing and puffing. Heart rate was through the roof. And I had to turn that 10 seconds into swimming into an hour of swimming in 4.5 short months. So that's crazy panic setting in on that day one. But I stuck with it. And I said, you know what? You look crazy. You look stupid. This is something that you're not good at. You're failing. And I just continued on. I stuck with it. I stayed in the pocket. Now, one thing that was very different in this experience is I'm just the type of guy who I kind of be a loner on some of these things. I'll just keep pounding the pavement. I'll just keep like going after it. Just solve your problems with more effort. Just keep going. Just keep going. More swimming time, and you'll eventually build up enough endurance where you can handle it. And the great lesson that swimming taught me is that's not how everything works. You can't just pound and pound and pound, and the solution is not always effort. Swimming is so much technique and rhythm. And I listened to a podcast on swimming because I was trying to learn and soak up as much information as possible. And he said something, the person on the podcast, that like totally just changed my strategy of what I was going to do and help my ego out. And he basically said, if you are swimming with the wrong technique, you're going to learn how to swim with the wrong form, and you're going to have inefficiencies that are going to be hard drilled into how you swim for a long period of time, and it's going to be very hard to change later on. So you have to swim the right way. It's like learning how to golf the wrong way and then trying to get better at golf. It's like, no, your swing is messed up. You have a lot of inefficiencies that cause you to slice a lot. More golf is just going to cause you to slice more. The answer is not always more. The answer is strategy, and the answer is form, and the answer is to figure out a better way to do it. So anyways, tying it back to ego, something that I've never done, because, I'm naturally athletic. Again, I have some gifts there, is reach out for help when it came to some of these physical challenges that I'm doing. I tend to just, chat GPT my plan, and again, just throw effort at it, throw effort and mindset at it. But I need a technique. I needed it bad. So I pulled some help from some friends. I ended up taking, I think it was a total of 10 swim lessons from 4 different people. Every person that I spoke to that knew how to swim, I would just pick their brain. I'd be very vulnerable. I'm doing a really bad job. I'm not good at this. I have a race that's coming up. Like, any advice that you can give me, which is rare for me, again, because I had a big ego that I'm working on. And every time I would get in the pool with a friend or someone that was recommended to me, I would just like gracefully drown, and they would see how far back I was and far behind I was on learning how to swim. And they're like, man, I didn't know adults swam like that. So like I look silly, I look stupid, I wasn't good at it. And I had to be the student, and I had to listen to the teacher from peers that I know, I could offer a lot for other things, but like in this thing, like I had to take a back seat. So that was difficult. But what ended up happening is I learned the strategy. I listened to podcasts like crazy. Again, I took those 10 swim lessons. I did a lot of practice on the technique. And then fast forward to race day, I finished the swimming portion uh, better than the time that I expected in 56-degree water with a bunch of people like swimming on top of you, which was really, really difficult and high intensity. And I finished it. I remember getting out of the water at that time, and I got emotional, like a frog in my throat, not because I didn't think I was going to do it. I knew, with all of the training and the work that I put in, that I was going to be capable of doing it that day. But I was emotionally wrapped up in it because that wasn't something that I was used to, of being vulnerable, putting my ego aside, and going from something that I'm really, really bad at to being somewhat serviceable. I'm still a novice swimmer, but to be able to get that done is way cooler than to just be a loner and to get your ego in the way and say, I don't want to ask for help here because that's going to make me look weak. I was emotional because I did ask for help, and I did learn something new, way different than what I'm used to, and I accomplished the thing. So putting the ego aside is awesome. Same thing with this podcast. So this podcast I have not shared yet. So if you're watching this video, you're one of the few that know about this podcast. So shout out to you. And maybe there will be people that watch this video in the future, but I am being strategic on how I'm building this. I know that I've never recorded a podcast before, and I know that there are plenty of blind spots into how to produce a podcast that I just straight up don't know. And that's part of my ego being vulnerable, of like, hey, I view myself as a good speaker, and I view myself as a person who has a lot to offer in this space, but I don't know what the heck I'm doing when it comes to a podcast. So I pulled some advice from a friend this week, and I shared it for the first time with someone who's close with me. And he gave me like this laundry list, because he's big on YouTube, of all of this stuff after watching my podcasts, of like the things I need to do different. So you might be noticing we're at a new camera angle. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're listening to the audio. We're at a new camera angle. He's like, you look like a short little midget because your camera's way up high. I was like, man, I don't want to be shorter. So let's change this camera angle. He's like, we don't want to look at your door. We want to see this trophy wall. Look at that. So now we got the trophy wall in focus. And then he's like, your volume is kind of messed up. And I was like, man, I noticed that my volume's kind of messed up also. I figured it was the mic. Come to find out, and hopefully this is coming in clearer. I was recording the audio through the camera. I didn't even have the audio hooked up to the microphone. So the camera audio was picking up, which is like not a great microphone. And I bought this really cool, fancy, expensive microphone, and it wasn't even being used. It was just here for looks. So that's me putting my ego aside, because like I put my hands up and I say, I don't know what I'm doing. And when you do that, good things happen, right? You get great advice, you get great tips, you grow, and you're better for it. So treat yourself how you want to be treated. And shout out to my friends that have helped me grow with the no ego, because you want to deal with somebody with no ego, because it leaves room for growth, not only for you, not only for them, but for your relationship as well. When someone can be authentic and you don't have that giant wall of judgment in between you two, and you can grow from there, that's a beautiful thing. And that's where some of the best relationships happen. So talking about inner monologue, because that's part of what this episode has to talk about. You're talking with yourself all day long. I know I am. Some things that have really served me well, and maybe you can steal them when it comes to just taking on the challenges that are in your life, are some other things that I say to myself. I say a lot of things to myself, apparently. So I want to share some of these things with you. So number one, if you are doing physical challenges right now, or you are taking on a goal that is worth having, and in my opinion, goals worth having are difficult, and they're so difficult where you may not hit them. You want it to stretch you. You want it to be something that you give yourself a major high five at the end of it, of like, man, I really worked my ass off to get that goal. Something to consider when you're pursuing said goal is to never look up at the finish line. This has served me well in the marathons that I've ran. This has served me well in some of the competitions I do for work. This has served me well in the triathlon that I just ran. Don't look at the finish line. Don't look for it. Don't consider it. Don't even let it enter your brain that it's there. Erase the finish line from your conscious thought altogether. Tell yourself, I'm going to be out here forever. I will be out here until it gets dark outside. There is nothing stopping me in this race that will prevent me from running or biking or swimming or doing my thing all day long. I feel good. I feel great. I feel in the zone. I've put in the work. Nothing is going to stop me from where I want to go, and this thing will go forever. And guess what? I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. I want it to go forever. The alternative is like, where's this finish line at? I feel like I've been out here for a really long time. Oh my gosh, it's that far away. I'm already tired. Like, oh my God, the finish line is so far. Like, the second you even consider that the finish line is where it is where the race starts getting really difficult for you. In my marathon last year, just to let you guys in, I finished at 3 hours and 30 minutes, which the overall time was good, but I wasn't my goal. And what really killed me is nutrition, number one. Number two, I came out in the race way too hot. I was just like pumping just way too fast for those first, I think, 10 miles. But what really killed me is when I really started making a conscious decision on where that finish line was. I was at mile 20 and I was done. I was cooked. I was like, Jesus, like, I'm ready to turn it in. All right, where's this finish line at? And then I pick my head up and I'm at mile 20. And then I start having that inner monologue with myself of like, you're 6 miles away from the finish line. I don't know if I can go another 100 yards. I got to go 6 more miles. You know how daunting mentally that is for you. Now, on the flip side, if in that moment I said, I feel freaking great. This is the stuff that I live for. I want the adversity. I want the hard stuff. I could go forever. Literally, it's the middle of the day. I hope I go for another 6 hours. I'm going to keep chugging along. I'm going to keep putting one foot in front of the other. All I care about is having great form. All I care about is having great energy. All I care about is the greatness that I feel right now. And I could go out. I can go forever. I can run 2 marathons right now. Keep it coming. I want more. Those two mindsets are totally different. Now, it's really hard when you're fatigued and you've been out there for 2.5 hours and you're exhausted and you took it out too fast and you didn't nutrition properly. So I'm not saying that it's easy, but I am saying if it enters your brain even once, where's this finish line at? That's where the race gets killer. That's where it gets super hard. That's what served me well in the triathlon. I ran it with my buddy of mine, Micah, and he told me about his bike experience. And the bike is very long. It's 56 miles. So you're out there for a very long period of time. And Micah, after the 10-mile mark, told me, I realized how long I was going to be out there. And I started, going to the Porta-John. I started stopping for the snacks. I started realizing, like, I'm going to have to strap in. This is going to be a long time. On my bike, I never once considered where the finish line was until I saw it, and I was only a mile away. And that's when I let myself get into the groove of like, okay, it's only a mile away. You know what the hardest mile was? That last mile, because I was focusing on the finish line. And I was like, okay, it's only a mile. And then I get quarter a mile in and like, where is this thing? I've been riding forever. Half mile in, like, man, I thought it was only a mile away. I've gone like 4 miles. The point is, don't ever focus on the finish line. You can translate that into anything in life. If you have a challenge at work that's going to take a month long, don't tell yourself, man, this is going to be a long 30 days. We're only 15. I got 15 more days of this. I can go forever. I don't care where the finish line is. I care about what's in front of me right now. I feel great. I'm going to have great form. That's how you win. Now, train your mind to love adversity. Love adversity. Fall in love with adversity. That's where I'm at. That's something I'm becoming obsessed with. I just bought a book. It's called Grit, and that has a lot to do with response to adversity and effort over talent. And it's a great read so far. But to train your mind to welcome adversity is a beautiful thing, because one of two things happens when adversity hits your front door. You either say, woe is me, this sucks, I'm going to have to get past this. Or you say, heck yeah, I was expecting it. I want it because I know I can grow from here. And I know that I can't have growth without adversity. So let's go. This is what I wanted. This is what I asked for. I want adversity. And those two people, again, going back to what we talked about in the beginning, making 1,000 decisions in a given day, the person who's wanting and welcoming and excited when adversity hits their doorstep compared to the person who isn't, who do you think wins? Who do you think levels up? Who do you think just blasts through and has so much grit and perseverance? And who do you think has excuses? It's obviously the latter. And then lastly, when it comes to talking with yourself, belief is such an important piece into just anything in general. But in order to gain great things, you need to believe that you deserve it. So you're going to welcome into your life whatever you believe that you deserve. Now, this is where limiting beliefs become real, right? This is where how you were brought up becomes real. This is where the people that you surround yourself with and the life that you live becomes real, right? Take stock of it. Do you believe that you deserve something way better than that? Don't we want way better? Even if we have great right now, don't we want way better? Or do you believe you're getting exactly what you deserve? And maybe you're not consciously making that decision, because we all want way better, but you are making it because you're doing the same thing on a given day, on a given week. You're doing the small incremental wins with the small incremental setbacks. Believing that you deserve something greater takes a lot of work, a lot of mental energy, a lot of sitting back and telling yourself, you know what? There's way bigger out there. And I'm just getting such a small piece of that pie. And believing that you deserve it is when you can start welcoming it into your life. It's hard to have a really limited viewpoint on what you deserve and have something great happen to you. When's the last time you heard someone backing into a great life? I just kind of backed into it. I was having a really average life, and then out of nowhere, it would all of a sudden everything got much better. You don't hear that because they don't believe that they deserve it. And the reason why they don't believe that they deserve it is plenty of different reasons. Maybe it's the self-deprecation. Maybe it's how you were growing up. Maybe it's the peers that surround you that also have limited style thinking. But you have to first believe that you deserve it. Now, you can't just look in the mirror and say, I deserve great things. I think you can improve your confidence on deserving great things if you put in a bunch of work. So inputs and actions must match up with that. I believe I should win. I deserve to win. Therefore, I will win is the mindset that gets you to level 2, level 3, level 4, wherever you're looking to go. Don't be in a hurry to get there, because great things take long periods of time. They really do. Now, you can find shortcuts. You can find strategies that will improve it. You can find efficient ways to pursue it, but you can't be in a hurry to get there, because when you're in a hurry, that's what can lead to a lot of disappointment, right? Like, I want to get there right now. I want it to happen tomorrow. I want it to happen at the end of this year. Same thing what I was just talking about. Don't look at the finish line. Stay in the pocket. Say, I can be out here forever. I'm going to match up my actions with my belief. And I know if I do this over a long enough time horizon, great things are going to happen for me. It can be that simple. Do awesome, great actions over a long period of time, and things will happen for you. And your belief will grow that you deserve it over that long period of time. But yeah, you can't back your way into greatness. It's really difficult. I don't know anybody that's happened to. Maybe winning the lottery, but there's so many stories of people who won the lottery and then they lose all their cash. So maybe they didn't believe that they deserved it. I don't know. We got to do a study on it. So that is our episode. Treat yourself how you want to be treated. You are your best friend. You're with yourself every second of every day. So why not be the best friend that you deserve to yourself and believe at a high level that you deserve to win? Tell yourself things that will allow you to receive great things in return and be really, really happy with the results. So I hope you guys have an amazing Sunday. Let's have an awesome one. We'll see you next Sunday. See ya.